Hey guys, welcome to Collider Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm your host, Ashley Mova, and this is the daily show where we give you all the latest news from the world of movies, plus some insight into what it all means. Joining us as always is Jon Campea.
Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, coming to you from right here at the Collider Video Studios here in Burbank, California, and we're still trying to figure out if Jake Lloyd's alive or not.
Also here, Jon Schnepp.
Yippee! He's alive. It was MSNBC, which I'm not even joking. They're the ones, MSNBC, the counterfeit MSNBC. They're the ones who are reporting it. We don't. We seriously hope that's not true.
Also here, Kristian Harloff.
Jake Lloyd from the titular Phantom Menace.
Is she going to hold it together? Is she going to?
No jokes. No jokes for a month. No jokes for a month.
Oh, yeah, we're making that bet.
Folks, as happens sometimes, but after we get these show notes put together, something happens, and this one's actually rather significant. This surrounding the DC Cinematic Universe, and in this case in particular, Aquaman. The Hollywood Reporter, as opposed to MSNBC, right now is reporting that actress Amber Heard right now is in talks to play in Aquaman as Mera. Now, the report is also suggesting that she will first make her appearance as Mera in Justice League. Now, once again, we don't have this confirmed, but it is coming from the Hollywood Reporter, which is one of the more, if not the most reputable site out there for news like this. This catches me by surprise, but you heard this news this morning. What do you think about all this?
Well, I don't know enough about the character to say whether or not I think she's right or not for it. What I will say as far as Amber Heard goes, I've always thought, first of all, I saw her in a restaurant once, and I was like, I didn't know who she was at the time. And I was like, who is that? That is the most gorgeous woman I've ever seen, and realized it was Amber Heard. She's stunning. So as far as looks go, yeah, okay, put her in a movie if she's playing like this really attractive woman. But as far as acting chops, never thought she really had it. But then I saw The Danish Girl, and she was great, not just good, great in The Danish Girl. And so for them to give her another shot, not another, but to give her a shot in this DC universe, I think it's a smart move. I think it's to see her in a role like this, because you were raving, you're saying the character's pretty cool. So I'd like to learn a little bit more about her, and I'd like to see her bring the character to life.
Schnepp, Amber Heard appearing in Aquaman.
I think she's a great actress, and I thought she was amazing in Drive Angry, the unofficial Ghost Rider movie that you should have seen instead of Ghost Rider. She's great. I think she's going to lead. She's going to play Mera really well. I think, yeah, she's stunningly gorgeous, but she's also a good actress. So you put those two things together, she's better be a good swimmer, is all I know.
Well, they're in scrambling together, trying to find images to use for this. There is as you were pointing out, there's an awful lot of pictures on Google of her coming out of water.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that must mean she really likes to swim. I concur. Drive Angry. One of my favorite terrible movies ever. I really enjoyed Drive Angry because I thought Nicolas Cage was fun in it. I thought Amber Heard was really fun in it.
She's fun in the movie. Yeah.
She is. I like William Fichtner in that movie. She was just in that. What was that one? 30 Hours to Kill or 3 Hours to Kill or something like that.
Which one?
With Robin Hood. Dances with Wolves Boy.
3 Days to Kill.
Why am I 3 Days to Kill, not 3 Hours to Kill?
She was also in that horrible movie with Liam Hemsworth and Harrison Ford and Gary.
Oh my goodness! Yeah. Not Identity Theft with Harrison Ford.
Garbage, I think it's.
My goodness!
She's been in a ton of garbage films. Yeah. She was in a film with Johnny Depp, The Rum Diary.
That's how The Rum Diaries.
I hated The Rum Diaries.
You like The Rum Diaries?
I'm the guy. I'm the guy who likes Rum Diaries.
Paranoia, by the way. Paranoia was the name of that.
Hey, look,
I'm one of these guys. Like, I've said this before when we talked about Aquaman. I was like everybody else in the world. Aquaman is a stupid character that they might as well do away with. And then a bunch of you guys started telling me, Jon, you should really try reading the New 52 Aquaman. And I started reading the New 52 Aquaman just because you guys said I should try it. And it's like, hey, they have retroed this dude a lot. They've retrofitted this guy a lot. And he became, to me, an enjoyable character. And then I read Injustice Gods Among Us Year 1. Might be my third favorite DC character now. Like Aquaman, after reading Injustice Gods Among Us Year 1, after being primed by reading Aquaman New 52, I became a full-fledged Aquaman fan. And Mera is really good in the New 52.
But as a non-comic book sweaty, what is 52? What is that?
It's the New 52 is when
aren't they done with it now too?
Well, they kind of messed it all up, but they were trying to basically reboot their universe once again, which it all started like these reboots started. You can really say Crisis on Infinite Earths like 25 years ago really started it, but basically it's a refresher. Like every 7 years or so, both Marvel and DC at the time would like kind of refresh their universe and go to a part, stage one for new readers.
It's like an alternate universe type thing.
No, it's like it's supposed to be like in continuity. It's not alternate. It's
no,
like,
but I mean like things that happened in the past
are
are
all
almost
gone.
like right.
Yeah, so there's no canon, so to speak.
Okay.
So I mean, but once again, it always gets muddied because then other writers come in and do things that aren't canon. They're like, well, that's on Earth Prime or Earth 9 or what's that? Well, we got rid of all those Earths. Bring them back. So they've been in this weird flux. So the New 52, that they launched, I think it was about 3 years ago. This New 52 initiative, they kind of relaunched Aquaman. But Aquaman's gone through so many different phases. I think when they were doing the JLA animated, he was missing the hand and he had a harpoon.
Well, they give him like a harpoon for an arm once.
Water hand at one point.
That's when they gave him the long scraggly beard. It's like that's the new pissed off Aquaman.
And that's what he looks like now in the movie, right? It looks more like the 52.
Well, scraggly, but he's got both of his hands.
Right, but I mean, as far as the beard, he looks. He doesn't. He's not the blonde-haired guy that I remember.
No.
I speaks to the fishes. Yeah, it's like I'm sure he can still talk to fish, but I think he's more like King Arthur is what they're trying to make him
what
look
they
like.
did with Aquaman too, like the way I interpreted him after the New 52 and Injustice: Gods Among Us was that now he's just a really angry dude who's like. Every day he has to convince himself not to wipe out the human race that lives on the surface. He's not like a maniac or anything like that, but it's like a lot of his own people are like, wipe out the surface dwellers. Go because no, we're not going to do that.
Did they go with the whole thing like Earth is 75% water? Why are we letting these like 25% minions do all this damage?
A lot of Atlanteans that have that political philosophy, seriously. But I saw this. I think this would be a great addition. And they could rival and become the leading nominees for the best looking on-screen couple in the universe between Jason Momoa and Amber Heard. I mean, that could be a frightening good looking couple. So, I mean, I think they're going to have great screen chemistry together. I cannot wait to see what they're going to do with Aquaman. Ever since they released that one picture of Jason Momoa as Aquaman, that got everybody buzzing. I think this is great news. I think people are going to be really happy to hear this. All right, let's get on with the first official story of the day.
All right, as we're all getting ready to head into Oscar season, we're reminded once again that it's also Razzie time. Woo! The Razzies are the counter awards to the Oscars that are presented each year the day before the Academy Awards, celebrating the absolute worst in film that year. The nominees for this year's Razzies include Worst Picture, Fantastic Four, 50 Shades of Grey, Jupiter Ascending, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, and Pixels. Worst Actor, Johnny Depp, Mordecai, Jamie Dornan, 50 Shades of Grey, Kevin James, Paul Blart Mall Cop 2, Adam Sandler, The Cobbler, and Pixels.
Double.
And Channing Tatum, Jupiter Ascending. Worst Actress, Katherine Heigl, Home Sweet Hell, Dakota Johnson, 50 Shades of Grey, Mila Kunis, Jupiter Ascending, Jennifer Lopez, The Boy Next Door, and Gwyneth Paltrow, Mordecai. John, who do you think the big winner at the Razzies should be this year, and are there any other categories that interested you?
Cross the board, Jupiter Ascending. And let's all start cheering for Eddie Redmayne to become only the second performer in Oscar/Razzie history to win Best Lead Actor at the Oscars, to be followed by Worst Actor at the Razzies. That would be
he's not nominated,
only.
is he?
Yeah, Eddie Redmayne for Worst Actor for Jupiter Ascending.
No, he's not. No, that's Channing Tatum.
Oh, they've got him nominated for Worst Supporting Actor.
Okay.
For that. Still,
yeah,
he deserves it.
Right.
So I love the Razzies because the Razzies to me are like, you can't truly appreciate the warm weather unless you live somewhere where there's winter. You cannot appreciate the grass unless you live in the desert. And you cannot truly appreciate the great films of the year unless you take a few moments to reflect on the truly awful films of the year. To me, Jupiter Ascending will probably end up being my worst film of the year. I absolutely despise that movie. But one of the things the Razzies, somebody will have to correct me if they actually did this last year. I think this is a new category for the Razzies. They've introduced a new category, which I really love, called the Razzie Redeemer Award, which is they take somebody who's either won Razzies before or has traditionally been awful, and they actually did something really great this year. And the nominees this year for the Razzie Redeemer Award are M. Night Shyamalan, because he did a very good job directing The Visit, Will Smith for following After Earth with Concussion, Elizabeth Banks for being in a bunch of hit films this year, and Sylvester Stallone. having won a Razzie number of times and now potentially winning an Oscar this year. I really like that category. But anyway, Schnepp, you looked down, saw this list of Razzies. Your thoughts of the Razzie nominees?
Well, my thoughts was, they have them every year in Hollywood at the Ricardo Montalban Theater, and that's like a few blocks away from me. So I might go this year. I've always like, man, I should just get those tickets. They're only like $25. You can go actually see the Razzies in person. That's a Razzie. Yeah, what's the one, the Katherine Heigl one? I haven't even heard of that movie.
Anything she's in though is terrible.
I know, but what's that movie? something hell. I never heard about it. I don't think Jupiter Descending. I think Jupiter.
It was descending. It was descending. Sent it right to the
Jupiter,
ground.
I think it should have won a Golden Globe for Best Comedy.
Yeah.
Dog Boy and Toilet Girl. That's what I would have called the movie.
Should have been
Dog Boy and Toilet Girl, and then it would have won multiple Golden Globes. But yeah, boy, Adam Sandler getting a double nomination.
Man.
That's the one for me. That's a win, because if you get a double nomination, I think he should. And I would like to see Adam Sandler get there in person and accept it, and then rip on everybody at the Razzies and say, "I make money," and flip the podium. I would love to see Adam Sandler just accept it and be like, "That's right, I made The Gobbler. Suck it."
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah, do a character, sing a reward as Opera Man. I mean, he should just accept it, enjoy it. I mean, and move on. I think that's what a lot of the actors and actresses who get what the Razzies are. They accept it. They move on. Like Halle Berry went and got it.
Yep.
She took it. And she was like, I got an Oscar last year, and I got a Razzie. What's up?
Sandra Bullock did it the
Sandra
same
Bullock
year.
also went and
the same
accepted.
year that she
Same
won
year
it.
won an
Yeah.
Oscar. That's
Yeah.
right. That's how you do it. You flip that podium. That's how, it's a Razzie. What can you do?
As far as the ones that we covered here, worst picture, I think that I'd probably also have to give it to Jupiter Ascending. But I'll tell you what, like the 50 Shades of Grey thing. Like, because I did my top 10 worst, and I was like, where's 50 Shades of Grey? The book was garbage. The movie was garbage. It was exactly what it was supposed to be. There's nothing you could have done to make that movie any better because it followed shit material.
Right.
So
That
that's what
doesn't
it is.
change the fact that it's still a shit movie.
It is, but the thing is, it's not worse than these other ones that came out. I think it's a bad movie. It was bad when I saw it, but do I think it was the worst? No. I thought the director did whatever the director could do with a crappy script, and the fact that what's her face is nominated for worst actress is silly. Dakota Johnson's the only reason you can watch that movie is because she's actually pretty good in it. The guy though should win. Hands down, he should. Channing Tatum shouldn't. He was dog ears, but he was fine in the movie.
Oh, no,
Mila
he
Kunis,
wasn't.
I thought he was fine. Mila Kunis should be nominated for this movie for the rest of her life. 'Cause it's
She
so
scrubbed
bad.
those toilets really good. I don't know why you're so mad at her.
She's so
Stop
bad.
being
in it.
mad
Oh, it's so
about it.
bad, and the character
You know
is written
what?
terribly.
Come on, Seventh Son, John Campea. We saw that.
It's a bad movie.
That should have
but
been
I thought it was
nominated.
way
Yeah, it
better
should've.
than- I thought it was better
Jeff
than Jupiter
put his mush
Ascending.
mouth in his way through that role. Come on.
hope Eddie Redmayne loses.
I should win! Scream at
Yeah.
All right, what's next?
Well, the Comic-Con trailer for the upcoming Batman vs. Superman was considered by many to be one of the best, if not the best, trailer of 2015. The follow-up trailer showing the trio of Batman, Superman, and Wonder Woman together and showing us our first look at Doomsday had many scratching their heads. In a recent interview with the Daily Beast, director ZackSnyder talked about the decision to include Doomsday in the recent trailer. He said the following: "We had a long conversation about just taking ownership of that, of giving it to the audience in a controlled way that I felt was consistent with the escalation of the campaign. To us, it really made sense to give Doomsday to the audience now. I really wanted to make the audience a promise that though I'm super excited and happy and fulfilled by the conflict of Batman and Superman, there's also a bigger world to start to think about." Kristian, what do you think of Snyder's comments?
I think this just proves everything that we were talking about. It's like, and Schnepp, you and I have talked about this many times. It was a conversation that the Warner Brothers execs had. The audience is going to get confused. They're going to think our two big superheroes are fighting. We got to show them that they're going to team up. We got to show them. Right. And that's what happened because you didn't need to show it.
No.
You didn't need to show it. And I think he's just, as he should, he's defending the decision. He shouldn't say, oh, you're right, guys. We were wrong. You got to defend your decision right here. But I still think it was the wrong decision. And I think that is absolutely because they wanted to show people who were confused, why are Batman and Superman fighting? Right. Because we know that they're gonna team up. It's called Dawn of Justice. You don't need to show us in the trailer.
Right.
You don't need to show us. So I hear what he's saying, but I just the comments just proves what we've been talking about.
Yeah, it's just it's a good spin though. I mean, it's
Yeah,
like
sure.
if you have to spin it and do damage control, that's the way you rock it because it is damage control. Every time I see that trailer, I watched it just yesterday. Like I was like skimming through trailers to catch up on some stuff, and I was like, oh, I'll watch that one again, and I still have that like man, they just didn't have to show the little Ninja Turtle dude at the end, and they didn't have to show, is she with you? Is she with you? Is she with you? It was just ruined it. So it was like, and I'm sure it fits completely fine in the film, but as far as a trailer and then slapping that logo, Batman v Superman, I know it's called Dawn of Justice. Relax. People get mad. Don't forget it's called Dawn of Justice. I get it. And also, they shouldn't have shown that stuff. I think it was like just a bad move. We all know that that's what's going to happen. Everyone knows that they're going to become friends at the end. There's not going to be a Batman versus Superman 2 on the moon. Right. That's not going to be the third. We end the trilogy with them fighting again. It's not going to happen. They're like doing Justice League. So everyone knows that. We just wanted to see a little bit more flavor of Batman versus Superman. So this is a good way to, say, hey, look, it was part of the plan. It's all good. So everyone's cool with it, I think.
Yeah, I honestly think that the key part of Snyder's statement is in the beginning of the statement when he says, we decide we want to take ownership of it and release it to the audience in a controlled way. What does that tell me? We think these Doomsday images are going to get out. We think these Doomsday images someone's going to leak these out. So let's take control of it in a controlled way, and we show it to the audience the way we want the audience to see it. And I think that's the right move. Look, I never thought showing Doomsday in the second trailer was all that bad of an idea. I thought showing Batman and Superman standing shoulder to shoulder, ready to fight Doomsday, I thought that was a mistake. But the concept of showing Doomsday in the trailer, I don't think was all that bad of an idea. You show villains in trailers, that's fine. I don't think he's a good-looking villain. I do think he looks like a Ninja Turtle with acne. I don't think he looks all that good. But guess what? Quicksilver didn't look all that good in X-Men: Days of Future Past, and he turned out to be one hell of a character. Just because the design or the look of the character isn't all that great doesn't mean the character will not be awesome. And I think they're going to use him well. I still wish they weren't using him in this movie, but whatever. I'm sure they'll execute it well. But I think one of the biggest things about this was it's going to get out that Doomsday's in the movie. And then his design and his look and stills or something is going to get out. So let's make sure we have control of the narrative. Let's put it out the way we want to put it out. And in that regard, I think that was the right move. I always think it's the right move for the studio to take control of what information gets out and how it gets revealed, as opposed. But I will still stick by my guns. It was a mistake to then show Batman and Superman shoulder to shoulder. So I'll always stick on that. All right, folks, we've reached that part of the show now for buy or sell. Here's how this works. In front of her, Ashley's got a few other items in the world of movie news. She's going to run them down, and those are the table are simply going to say whether we buy it or sell it. So, Ashley, what do we got?
The upcoming Fox superhero film Deadpool is now less than 1 month away, and although we've known for some time that the film was aiming for an R rating, it is now official. The MPAA just gave Deadpool an R rating. For as they describe it, strong violence and language throughout, sexual content, and graphic nudity. Schnepp, buy or sell the MPAA rating and explanation for Deadpool?
Yeah, I fully buy it. Hell yeah. We've been wanting these MPAA people to wake up and smell the coffee, and I'm glad that Fox had the testicular fortitude to make this happen, because this is what we wanted, and now it's going to just all depend on all of you people who wanted an R-rated superhero film, especially Deadpool, to go out and pay for it with your real money and see it and support it and make it a big hit, because that's what it has to be now to support other more adult franchises. So,
what the part about this that I'll be honest, the part obviously getting an R rating does not surprise us. They announced that they were doing that. The part that surprises me, though, in the description, strong violence, no surprise. But these next two, where did it go? And language throughout, we knew that. But then sexual content and graphic nudity. These are the same tags that they put on 50 Shades of Grey last year, by the way. Right. I'm a little surprised by that. Now, we saw in one of the Red Band's trailer, he goes into a strip club, there's going to be a topless girl there, but that doesn't get that tag graphic nudity. They don't usually put that on for a topless shot here, there, or whatever. They'll put nudity, some nudity, whatever. So I find that a little surprising. There's going to be a little bit more rubbing of body parts in this movie than I was originally anticipating. By the way, if you don't follow me on Twitter, you should follow me at Jon Campea. But I put up this a picture that sent to me today.
Sorry, there's a lot of nudity. By the way, I put up a picture of that.
You really want to get your day started right.
Laying on a bearskin rug.
I call this image seduction. Anyway, so I put up this picture that somebody sent to me. The greatest marketing campaign in history continues. As far as films go, somebody sent me this picture. I put it up on my Twitter, and it's a billboard on the side of the highway, and it's a picture of a skull, and right beside it is a picture of a pile of shit, and then beside that is the letter L. And underneath it says February 12th. Oh, Deadpool. And I thought, this is freaking brilliant. So check that out. It's awesome. Anyway, your reaction to the R rating and the explanation for the R rating from the MPAA.
Same thoughts as you guys. We knew it was going to be rated R, as it should be. They said they were going for the rated R. Everything that we've seen so far indicated that it was going to be rated R. But I'm actually not shocked about the sex and nudity, because in one of I guess the last Red Band trailer, you see him going at it with his wife,
right?
And that looks and she, great actress, has been known to do a lot of nude sexual scenes before. She's in Homeland. She's done it in a few other movies too. So not surprised at all. And they're going, pun intended, balls to the wall.
Mm-hmm.
Now you just gave them an idea for a new spot.
Yeah, there you go.
Ryan Reynolds slapping his balls against
Balls
the
to the
wall.
wall.
And without saying balls to the wall, he'll just turn to the camera and say, "Do you get it?"
Yep. With
All
an
right.
R, with a rated R on the
With a
balls.
rated R. All right, what's next?
While most
Titular.
of us have been talking about George Clooney's upcoming film, Hail Caesar, a new trailer has just dropped for his other upcoming film, Money Monster. Clooney stars as Lee Gates, a bombastic television stock huster whose program, The Money Monster, and life are taken hostage by an outraged gunman. As much of the world watches live, Gates must keep himself alive, and with the help from the woman who produces the show, uncover the truth behind a tangle of big money lies. John, buy or sell this first trailer for Money Monster?
I have to completely sell this trailer. And I like I think the movie's going to be good. I think, I love George Clooney stuff. I love Julia Roberts. Jack O'Connell from Unbroken is going to be in it, and he's great, and all that kind of stuff. And I think the theme is good. If I just read a synopsis, the synopsis seems good, but we're not talking about whether we think the movie will be good. We're talking about the trailer. Now, I am the one who will constantly fight back against people who say, oh, trailers show too much. Trailers show too much. It's like, no, they really don't. That's my opinion normally. This trailer shows too much. They just showed you the pivotal plot turn in the trailer. In the trailer. If somebody come to me and say, at some point in this movie, George Clooney actually takes sides with the guy who took him hostage and starts fighting with him and on his side, I would have smacked that guy in the mouth for giving me a big spoiler. They just revealed the major plot turn in the movie in the trailer. Mm-hmm. And I went from, in the first 30 to 40 seconds of this trailer, going, man, I can't wait to see this, going, why do I need to even bother seeing this movie now? What's the point in seeing the movie now? Yep. Now, unless I'm totally wrong and that plot turn happens like in the first 30 minutes and that's actually just the setup for the rest of the story, okay, then fine. Then I'll eat my words and I'll go, okay, great. But as of right now, it looks like they just gave me the whole frickin' movie. And I'm the one who usually argues against people who say that exact same thing. But this is one of those cases. So for me, big sell on the trailer, Kristian.
Wow, total opposite. Huge buy.
Really?
For me. Yeah, man. Because I'm usually the guy that's saying
yes,
they're showing too much, and I'm going to use your argument. This is absolutely happens in the first 20 minutes.
See, and if that's the case, I will totally
switch
my
position. That's what Jodie Foster's
position.
showing you. She's showing this is not about just this hostage situation. This is about trying to discover something bigger, and that's what's going to happen in the first 20, 30 minutes of it. He's going to develop it, and then George Clooney's going to help Jack O'Connell through it. I'm okay knowing that, because if it is the last 10, 15 minutes and then we find out, then yeah, that's a plot reveal. But I don't think that's the case, and I think Jodie Foster's telling you straight up, this is what this movie is. Jack O'Connell being cast in that role, I think, is another showing sign that he's been playing good guys. I don't see him as kind of a bad guy hostage. It's not about a hostage situation. It's about something else completely, in a very different, maybe a commercialized version of what The Big Short or 99 Homes just did. I think this is going to be something similar to that, playing into how this guy lost money and how he was screwed over and how a bigwig like George Clooney can help him. And the use of the Bruce Springsteen song, boom, got me right away. The second they started playing that song, I loved this trailer. I mean, loved it. I can't wait to see this movie. You're probably going to sell it too. I don't care. I'm sticking to it.
Kristian, I can't believe you say that. I sell it, but not for those reasons. I do want to see the film. I think Jodie Foster is a good director, and I think the film is going to be really good. But I have to side with John on this. I was like, why are they showing me all of these things? Why are they showing me the bad guys on the phone? You can't let him do that. Why are they showing me outside of the studio right there? You see George Clooney with the explosive vest walking along. You're like, that's not the beginning of the film. We don't know how the movie begins, but we kind of can take a wild guess because the trailer basically tells you, 2 hours earlier. So you're going to get a little setup, half an hour, him doing his show, this and that. Then you're going to cut back to real time. Then we're going to like, how can we help, this and that. And I don't know. I feel really like they just kind of ruined the movie for me. I still want to see it. I think the acting is going to be really good. It's a good story to tell. I just think they showed too much.
See, if they had left out that plot twist of showing Clooney working with, and again, I will reiterate, if it turns out that this is in the first act of the movie, then all is forgiven.
I agree.
Then all is
it is.
completely
Even if it's
forgiven.
the first half, I'm cool with
But
it.
if
think
it's
it is.
not, then I feel like I would have been totally bombastically on board with this movie if you just didn't show that. And I find that because everything you said that was good about this trailer, you're absolutely right. And I'm so glad you brought up the fact that Jodie Foster is directing it, because that's another big thing in the checkbox for this.
I don't think the movie works if it's revealed at the end that they work together. I don't think that's what this movie is. I don't think that's what this trailer was. I think this movie was telling you that these two are going to work together. The big guy who's on the side and the little guy. We don't know from this trailer what the scandal is.
I buy your comments.
Yeah, I want to know. I want to know what the scandal is.
If
I want to know
you're
what the story
right,
is.
I'm on board.
Because from what I got from watching the trailer, I was pitched a movie of the big guy working with the little guy to find out what the stink is really.
All right, what's next?
Coming off the success of 2015's Mad Max Fury Road, there was a lot of talk about the next Mad Max film director George Miller would do. There has even been talk about him having 2 new chapters in the story ready to go. However, in a recent interview with Page Six, Miller announced he's done with directing the Mad Max films, saying the following: "I won't make more Mad Max movies. Fury Road was forever getting completed. If you finish one in a year, it's considered a leap of faith. Start, stop, start again. I've shot in Australia in a field of wildflowers and flat red earth when it rained heavily forever." We had to wait 18 months, and every return to the U.S. was 27 hours. Those Mad Maxes take forever. I won't do those anymore. Christian, buy or sell Miller's comments that he won't be directing any future Mad Max films.
Do I buy that he won't be directing them? Yeah, I do. I do buy it. I don't buy that there will be no more Mad Max films. I think especially after the success of the last one, and people are going to want to see it. And I think that there's even been talk that it's happening soon. There's supposed to be spin-offs with Furiosa, and then Tom Hardy's returning as well too. I also think that he might want to. He's almost 80 years old.
He's getting up there.
He's close to it, and I think that he's going to want to do some other things. I think that his hand will be
Like a DC movie, maybe?
That's what I'm saying. Like he's got these opportunities, but how let's hope another 20 years. Let's hope. Yeah. And in that, he's not going to. I don't think he's going to direct it because, like he said, he just gave me all the reasons why I buy him from just a plane flight alone. But I do think that another Mad Max movie will happen.
Yeah, I completely agree with you, and I completely buy his comments. I think it's unfortunate, but I totally buy it, especially when you start going to YouTube and start looking up some of the making of Mad Max Fury Road, and you realize what a circus that was trying to get that thing made. It's like, and if you're a director approaching his 80s or in his 80s already, I'm not sure of his exact age, I'm probably sitting back and going, why am I doing this? Now, I read another interview with him where he kind of followed up on that, and it sounds like he may still produce and maybe even be involved in the writing of others, but he says, why not let somebody else do it at that point? So I think you're right. I think we're going to get more Mad Max films. I think they're, especially after the success of the last one, the studio's going to want to do it. And I think somehow, some way, Miller will be involved. But I do buy his comments. I can understand why he wouldn't want to do another one. Schnepp, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the name Mad Max is synonymous with George Miller.
Right. Yeah.
There will be more Mad Max films. George Miller's name will be on those Mad Max films, but not as a director. So, and he's saying it in so many words right there. He's saying, I'm not going to do it. Just the plane ride back and forth is 27 hours. It'll kill you. So, but is there going to be more? Yes, there will. Is he directing Superman 2? Who knows, right? Who knows? We don't know what he's going to do. But we know, we know there's going to be more Mad Max films. I can count on that. So,
All right, folks, we reached that part of the show now for Rewind, brought to you by our friends at AMC Theatres. Every Wednesday, we take a little minute and do a little thing that we call our Feeling Old segment as we look and celebrate the films that turn 10 years old this week and the films that turn 20 years old this week. And starting off with the 10-year anniversaries, turning 10 years old this week, we've got Glory Road, we've got Last Holiday, and we've got Tristan and Isolde. And celebrating 20 years this week, we couldn't believe this one, is From Dusk Till Dawn. That's right. Dusk Till Dawn is 20 years ago that movie opened up. Schnepp, you're looking at this list, the Glory Road, Last Holiday, Tristan and Isolde, Dusk Till Dawn. What stands out to you?
Definitely Tristan, and just kidding. Dusk Till Dawn. That's the only one that stands out to me. I remember seeing that movie in a theater and loving that film, falling in love with Salma Hayek. I couldn't believe how exciting it was to go from like this crazy, violent, like brother film, like holding this family hostage, to even more insane Mexican vampire, horror film.
Spoilers.
Spoilers if you haven't seen it, or the sequel, or the TV series.
It's
Get
20
on it.
years old.
Yeah, live on this planet. It's incredible. If you haven't seen it, check out Dusk Till Dawn. It's fantastic. It's one of Robert Rodriguez's greatest films.
What about you, Christian? What
I remember seeing it in the theater.
Man, I can't believe it's 20 years old. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's crazy. It's like the first half feels like a Tarantino movie, and then the second half is like Rodriguez. It's
Totally.
like a big, crazy bloodbath. That's a lot of fun. So that one definitely is the one that stands out the most. As far as the 10 years go, I'd have to give it to Glory Road because it's the only performance I can remember Josh Lucas being good in.
I think Josh Lucas has been pretty. I thought Josh Lucas was really good in
what?
Sweet Home Alabama. I thought he was really fun in that. I thought he was okay in that one Hulk film.
You're reaching.
Not much. I'm reaching.
Overreach,
declared
reaching. Overruled.
The ones that stand out to me from the 10-year-old one is Tristan and Isolde, and mainly because of how truly awful that film was. I just remember watching it. For a lot of people, it was their first look at Henry Cavill. I was in that, but James Franco, who at the time was still an emerging star. What?
But John, I would say that the Count of Monte Cristo is Henry Cavill's first notice.
Oh,
no?
that was before that, wasn't it?
Yeah. He was a youngin'.
I concede the point, absolutely.
Yeah, that movie came and went so quick. I had to look it up. I was like, watch the
Count of Monte
trailer.
Cristo?
No, Tristan.
Oh, Tristan.
Yeah.
And it has a really horrible, soft rock. I don't even know what you would call it, with a girl
Garbage.
whining. Yeah,
But you know what was in it? We had a conversation around here earlier today about like background actors, character actors, stuff like that. The one thing that Tristan and Isolde had going for it was the great Rufus Sewell.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Dark City, man.
And from
Yeah.
everything this dude pops up in, and most of the stuff he pops up in is not very good. But even when it's a not very good movie, he's just one of these guys who, like, when he's on screen, you're captivated by
Knight's
the screen.
Tale.
Knight's Tale is a really good example of that, actually. And it was, at the time, James Franco he was that guy that's like, hey, remember his best friend in Spider-Man? He's becoming a movie star. And that was when he was kind of, but that was bad. And obviously Dusk Till Dawn is the one that really pops up there the most. So, all right, folks, those are the films. How old do you feel now? Dusk Till Dawn is turning 20 years old. Unbelievable. All right, folks, we reached that part of the show now for Mailbag. Listen, if you've got a topic or a question you'd like us to address on the show, just email us anytime at collidervideo@gmail.com. Now, if you're watching us live, we're going to save a little bit of time at the end of the show for your live Twitter questions. You can hop on Twitter right now, start firing him some Twitter questions to @collidervideo, and Ashley will pick a couple out at the end of the show. But for now, let's first get to the mailbag. So, Ashley, what's in the mailbag?
George Lopez writes, I was recently reading about the
George Lopez.
Nice. Love your work.
You're a funny guy.
All right, I was recently reading about the casting list of the actors that are being taken into consideration to play Han Solo in the next Star Wars movie, Rogue One, and I was surprised that Anthony Ingruber, Age of Adeline, didn't make it to that list. I think he is the perfect guy to play the character, not only because he looks a lot like Harrison Ford, but at the same time, he doesn't need to do much because he is not the main character. What are your thoughts, and keep up the good work?
Well, okay, first of all, no, he's not the main character in a Rogue One cameo, but whoever you get to play that Rogue One cameo has to then be the lead star in the upcoming Han Solo spin-off movie. So you got to keep that in mind as well. Yeah, look, if you look up Anthony Ingruber online, on YouTube in particularly, he does a great Harrison Ford impersonation. That impersonation on YouTube probably landed him that role in Age of Adeline, where he played the young Harrison Ford. However, while this kid does a great Harrison Ford impersonation, at this point, he's not that good of an actor. And you are talking about you're talking about Disney, which owns Lucasfilm, wanting to put an entire solo film, no pun intended, solo film, but perhaps on-running franchise on an actor's shoulder. You don't go out and get some kid who just happened to do a nice impersonation. Running and leading and being the main runner of a major motion picture is not about, can you do a good impersonation of that guy? That's not it. It's about, are you a strong enough actor that you can put that movie on your shoulders and carry it? The most important thing here is not getting somebody to do a Harrison Ford impersonation. That's not it. When you look at all the great examples of when another actor took over a former actor's great role, it's not about them doing an impersonation of the actor before them. Daniel Craig does not do a Sean Connery. Daniel Craig does his own rendition of James Bond, right? And that's why it works. The reason I think Chris Pine works so well as Captain Kirk is not because he does a great William Shatner. No, actually, he doesn't do William Shatner at all. He does his own take on James Kirk. And I think whatever actor you get in here, it'd be nice if you pick up on the mannerisms of the character of Han Solo. But the most important thing is not doing your best Harrison Ford impersonation. It's about being the best actor you can that you can carry a motion picture. And, you were saying you saw another film with him in it and that just didn't impress you. And your thoughts on this whole topic?
Well, it's funny because I agree with a lot of what you said. The one thing that I will say about when you bring up the references to, like, say, Chris Pine or Daniel Craig, they weren't playing a character that fits into the same canon mythology, because whoever is playing Han Solo now does fit into The Force Awakens and has to match that Han Solo. They didn't have to match anybody else. Like, you know what I mean? Like, there was nothing in that continuity. Like, he's got
Star Trek, they matched Spock, they matched Bones, they matched almost everybody else, except
I mean, you didn't have to do it. I think that there was mannerisms and stuff. That's why I agree with you. Like, there's got to be mannerisms, but the person still has to make it their own. Yeah. Now, what I will say, I'm sure, and I haven't looked at the chat board, but I'm sure people are saying, but wait a minute. Daisy Ridley was basically unknown, and she was thrown in there. But here's the example. I'll give you an analogy as far as, like, athletes go. There are some athletes that go straight from high school right into the pros. There are other ones that need to go to college. Anthony Ingruber needs to go to college. He needs more training. I like the kid. I think he's talented. I don't think he's ready to play Han Solo in a major motion picture. I just don't think he's ready. Daisy Ridley is an anomaly. She was amazing, and she's also been trained in theater, and she's been doing it for a while. I think that there are other actors. I didn't get a chance to share my opinions the other day on the choices. I think that short list is not great. We'll talk about it on Jedi Council.
Who's not on that list?
I know, Taron Egerton, but I still think he's the guy. I think that Lord and Miller are really high on him, and I think that he's going to be the guy. We'll talk about that on Thursday.
I think, this guy. The analogy I'll use is Alec Guinness, who got hired to be the young Alec Guinness, Ewan McGregor.
Right.
Now, he doesn't look at all like Alec Guinness. Nothing like a young Alec
Guinness. Great point.
So I don't care what he looks like, to be honest with you.
But he took his mannerisms, though. He took a lot of mannerisms. But he made it his own. No, that's what I'm saying. There were parts
that's
that
what
he
I
did.
mean. It's like he doesn't look at all like Alec Guinness. He didn't wear a rubber nose.
Right.
There's all these things where it's like, no, but I'm just saying they didn't make him like, look, you have to emulate this guy. And it's the same age that Harrison Ford is now in The Force Awakens. If you go back 30, 40 years, even younger when he was in The Phantom Menace, who Alec Guinness as Ben Kenobi is supposed to be. It's like almost 50 years before. So I think they can really, as long as they're not trying to say that the Han Solo who is in the Mos Eisley bar when Luke Skywalker and Ben Kenobi show up, that's not whoever this young Han Solo is going to be. I think there has to be enough space. That's why I'm hoping he's not in Rogue One where they try to do that thing. But if it's a young Han Solo and they're going to want to make more Han Solo films that happen in that period of time, whatever period of time that's going to be, they should just cast the best actor and not who cares what he looks like.
All right, what's next?
Cedric Cannon writes, there was no discussion on the news regarding the Chinese-based company acquiring Legendary Pictures in your recent show. With that in mind, I was wondering if you felt that Legendary's absence in B vs. S would be felt. I personally think Legendary has been one of the most genre fan-friendly production companies of the past 10 years, but Marvel seems to overshadow them attention-wise, even though financially they have both done pretty well. Stay filthy, my friends.
Yeah, so this is actually a pretty big deal. Like Legendary Pictures, one of the companies behind the Christopher Nolan Batman films and Pacific Rim and a lot of great movies. They were just purchased by a company called Wanda. And now Wanda is the same Chinese-based company that, remember, we were with AMC Theatres for a while, that bought AMC Theatres. So I was actually working at AMC Theatres when Wanda came in and purchased AMC Theatres. So now that same company has just bought Legendary. The reason I personally didn't make that one of our news stories yesterday was because of this. When Wanda came in and bought AMC, a lot of us were asking at the time, what's going to happen? What's going to change? And here's what Wanda did. Nothing. They left our CEO in place. They left our board of directors in place. They left all the upper management in place. They didn't do anything. They literally just owned it. And then they let it run, and literally nothing changed except for the fact that AMC got a big influx of cash. And I expect when I'm reading the story about how Wanda just bought Legendary Pictures, the very first thing it said in the story was the CEO, I can't remember the CEO of Legendary's name, but is still going to be in place. He's still going to be the guy in charge. Tull, thank you. Tull is still the guy in charge there. He's still going to have his lieutenants. They're still going to have their board. So I suspect that, yeah, Wanda bought them, but they're not going to do anything with it. I think they're just going to let it run, feed money to it, and let them run. So I don't think we're going to see anything change. Now, the other thing that happened at AMC was that Wanda no longer owns AMC. Shortly after Wanda bought AMC, they actually took the company public, and they put out an IPO, and now it's a publicly owned through shares, and you can own it, and Wanda owns a whole bunch of the shares. And I expect probably within the next 2 years, you're going to hear Legendary is going to do the same thing. I think Legendary is going to go public, become an IPO as well. So that's why it wasn't a big deal for me. And I honestly don't think it's going to have any implications on what Wanda does. But you brought up something earlier today about Legendary West and how this might be a really nice strategic move for them.
Yeah, I was just reading up on it, and the Legendary is going to have a large studio built in China now that it's owned by Wanda, and they're going to actually be able to make bigger productions in China using the China and American connection, but because of the way, to import a film over from the U.S. to China, if it wasn't made in China, is not a Chinese product, is a lot harder than if you actually make it in China itself. So I think there'll be a lot more co-productions happening, which I think is a great thing. I selfishly am really excited about Pacific Rim 2 because it was a big hit in China.
Yep.
Made over $100 million in China alone. And so that, I think, bodes well for possibly doing Pacific Rim 2. Also, I think, they're just pretty smart about it. Like, I think it's a smart move for Wanda to purchase Legendary right where they're at right now and not do anything, just let it roll. It's like, let it ride. They're just going to collect money. So
that's the word, is it smart? As far as, like, I always love when you hear smart companies that say, okay, we're going to buy a company that works, and we're not going to touch it. Why? Because it's working. Right. And we're going to give them assets, and we'll certainly give our information, our feedback, and help them do what they want to do to help it grow. And then again, get it to a place where we do take it public and when they've taken over companies that are hurting, and then there's changes, that makes sense. Right. So you're not going to change an AMC or a Legendary because they're working right now.
I mean, I think you brought up one of, I think, would be the key thing here. I think from a film fan's perspective, the biggest potential piece of news here is that I literally think the chances of Pacific Rim 2 happening just doubled. Yeah. Like, I literally think the chances just doubled. All right, folks. Well, I said we would save a little bit of time to take your live Twitter questions, and we're going to get to that right now. Make sure you're following us on Twitter at Collider Video. Send in your questions, and maybe you'll hear it on right now. So, Ashley, what have you picked out?
David Gable writes, what's your favorite time period to see in film?
Today. I'll be honest with you, Maud. I'm a sucker for period pieces of all types and of all kinds, but my preference is to see movies in the modern world, in my context that I live in.
I like the Roman era. I want to see more.
Roman era is great.
I'd like to see some more. I want to see some, like, the sandals and all that. What's the swords and sandals genre? When they're done really well, they're phenomenal, and there's been too many crap pieces that take people away from it. But I think that I'd like to see more in that era.
As an Italian, I fully agree with you.
Thank you.
I like the
Roman period.
dystopian futures of the science fiction worlds of the future.
Hey, Watto?
Gotta bring me my croissants. I need a wet croissant right now.
Public credits.
Now he's an Italian Watto of some sort.
Spanish. What are you talking about?
I want
my croissant.
That's my grandmother right there. That's my nonna right
French
there.
croissant.
All right, what's next?
Michael Sanders writes, would you like to see a Johnny Bravo live action film?
Oh, yes. I think this actually came up maybe last week. I absolutely would. And I want to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing him. I mean, he's a guy, actually, we mentioned this, friends of ours, their brother is the creator of Johnny Bravo. Leo, and I forget Leo's brother's name.
I forget his name, too.
But for some friends of ours, their brother's the creator of Johnny Bravo. Johnny Bravo is a really funny character. And if you look up any clips, if you're not familiar with Johnny Bravo, look up some of the cartoon clips online, and then you'll totally see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson playing that role. I'm telling you.
Was there talk about that as well? Too?
I think there was at
I saw
some
that there was
point.
talk at some point with him.
John
actually,
Cena should play him.
which is,
Come on.
I don't know enough about it, but I'll look at some of those clips up.
All right, what's next?
Jordan Anderson writes, any news on the future of the Final Destination movies?
If I'm remembering right, and I might not be, but I think I remember there was another one in motion. This is going back a couple of years now. There was another one in motion, and then it got pulled off the tracks. So
How many have they made so far?
I think they made 6 or 7. I gotta admit, I like the last one they did.
They're all fun, dumb. They're just like, don't get on that plane. Don't get in that car. Weird spikes going through heads, people getting killed, waking up from dreams.
Well, they were at
It's
least
fun.
creative in the last one, the way that they ended it.
Yeah. So I would be up for another one. But from what I know, there are no plans currently off the top of my head. If you know different, please jump in the comments section and leave a link to some information if you have some.
Someone should write semi-final destination.
Semi-final destination. All right, what's next?
Abby Talaby writes, how does a theater know what percentage of men/women went to watch a film? When is this information collected?
It's probably collected right there at the theater. They're probably sending census people into different theaters, take counts and stuff like that. It's probably just no more high tech than that.
Right. By the chips that are already in our bodies.
Although they do have sensors, like
wear sunglasses.
especially when you look at like things like the AMC Prime, which have these new like boombox seats. They put in a lot of sensors in seats to detect testicles, and then they feed that information and say, hey, 45% of our seats today have testicles. So. That's not true, by the way. For any of you who happen to be taking me seriously, just in case.
Wow, this feels
Is
weird.
this one of those testicle
Yeah.
seats? I'm not sure.
It's like
you guys
Vincent
care-
Price, the Tingler.
Right. Do you have any non-testicle seats?
Okay, what's next?
All right, Jack Stone writes, what's your take on Tales from the Crypt TV series getting rebooted by M. Night Shyamalan without the Crypt Keeper?
Oh, without the Crypt Keeper?
No, right?
Boo.
Blasphemy.
What do
Yeah.
you think, Sean?
When I first heard M. Night Shyamalan's name and that there was no Crypt Keeper, I was like, so they're just going to make the Twilight Zone and call it Tales from the Crypt. It better be horror, is all I could say. If it's going to be
sure
just
it
like
is.
lukewarm, I feel like because Black Mirror was such a success that now there's going to be a lot of emulations happening, and they're just going to, I don't know. Tales from the Crypt really feels like it should have the Crypt Keeper.
Yeah.
Even if you're doing an updated version of it, just make it creepier.
Right.
I don't know. I'm taking a wait and see attitude, but I'm less excited about it than when I first heard about it.
I'll wait and see what you think, and I still won't watch it.
I will wait and see, and then I'll still won't care. So, all right, what's next?
All right, Evan Ryan writes, if Deadpool is successful, will we see a trilogy?
Oh, if it's successful, you're going to see more than a trilogy.
Yeah.
Look, if Fox can sit back and say, wait, we spent $40 million on this and made $300 million, oh yeah, you bet your ass. They're going to be in production the next morning. They will absolutely be in production the next morning. Any other thoughts?
Yeah, the next morning.
Literally the next morning.
No, I agree.
We don't have script yet. Doesn't matter. Just start.
Reynolds, don't
start
take that
swearing.
suit off.
Right.
Yeah, it's literally get over here.
All right, what's next?
Stuart Smith writes, what do you guys think of the idea that Van Wilder is the college days prequel to Deadpool?
It's not a bad theory. I haven't thought of Van Wilder in a
right.
long time.
Yeah,
work
wow,
that
that was
in
fun.
there.
That broke him into superstardom, but that won't happen.
No, of course. it won't.
I'd rather have it the waiting, that waiting.
The
movie.
Waiting, that's who it
Although
is.
if there's a
It's really
joke in
good film.
Deadpool where he's sitting with some guy and saying, it reminds me of this time when I used to own this pizza shop with, that would be that callback would be hilarious. All right, what's next?
Joshua Howell writes, do we really need a Creed sequel? Creed felt to me like the perfect send-off for Rocky and the whole story.
Absolutely, we need a Creed sequel.
Okay, I'll say this. Do we need a Creed sequel? No. You don't need any movie. No movie is needed. Is there an audience for it that wants it? And is there a good story to tell? And the answer to both of those answers clearly on Creed is yes.
I think that's what it is. I think the question is more of, is there more story to tell of Creed? Isn't it?
Without giving anything away, if you saw the ending of Creed, you know there's more story to tell.
I think that's where I, from what I got from that question, it's like, isn't the story done? It certainly isn't done. There's so much more to do, and you could have said the same thing about Rocky 1 and Rocky 1, 2, 3, 4. And 6 proved that there was a lot of story to tell with Rocky, and I think there's just as many stories to tell with Creed.
Which Rocky had the robot in it?
4.
Happy birthday,
Happy
Paulie.
birthday, Paulie.
That's right. Of course, there's lots of room for Creed 2 and 3, and if they keep doing a good job with it, then it definitely has an audience. So,
all right, 2 more questions.
All right, Jose writes, who is the biggest actor and actress box office draw?
Well, I mean, if you want to go by statistics, and I'm surprised we didn't cover this, Harrison Ford is now officially the #1 box office actor of all time. His movies have now made like $4.8 billion, passing Samuel L. Jackson, who was it? But now Samuel L. Jackson, as Dennis will be quick to point out, was always a bit of a mirage, because a lot of the movies Samuel L. Jackson gets those box office numbers accredited for are not his movies. Like, yeah, he's in Jurassic Park. And I liked him in Jurassic Park. Hold on to your butts. I mean, I liked him in Jurassic Park. But that's not his movie, but all the box office got added to his thing. I still don't know what I think about him as Mace Windu, but he's in the Star Wars prequels. But are those box office dollars really because he was in the Star Wars prequels?
this party's over.
Yeah,
Right.
No, but his thing. Harrison Ford, on the other hand, is pretty much the lead actor in just about every film he's in. So, I mean, this is really legitimately him. So if you want to go all time, if you're going to ask the question about current, who's the biggest box office draw right now? We're in an age right now where name does not necessarily equal big box office draw, no matter what cast you put together or who's in it. I would probably say, I mean, I might have said Robert Downey Jr. if it wasn't for the judge. Because that proved
Tom Cruise.
I was going to say Tom Cruise is probably the best.
He's the one
best
that's
draw right now.
and he had a couple of misses a little bit, but then got back up and showed that he can open a film.
See, the thing, why Tom Cruise I get, because you look at what Mission Impossible does, but I think Mission Impossible, the brand so far has helped. I got to go Leonardo DiCaprio. Because Leonardo DiCaprio,
that's a good one too.
A movie
Very
like
good one.
you look at a movie like The Revenant. That movie without Leonardo DiCaprio does not have that kind of opening in the beginning. It just I don't.
Yeah, but he's got hit and misses too. Great Gatsby, big bomb.
Sure. I mean, but there were a lot of actors. So does Tom Cruise. Tom Cruise got a lot of misses as well too. But I think Leonardo, because I'm with you guys that we are not in the age of the movie star opening a movie. The director opens the movie sometimes more than even the actor does at this point. But it's more about the genre and whatever the actual material is. But Leonardo DiCaprio is a guy that people expect quality, and if he has the right scenario behind him, like a Revenant, would look pretty fascinating. I think people didn't care about Great Gatsby at all, but him in a role like that will get people in the theater.
Or more so, him teamed up with a great director. It's like, but him leading it. Like, I think if him and Tom Cruise are the two that really pop off.
If they announce tomorrow that Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be the new cinematic version of the Green Arrow, that would just destroy.
Yeah.
That would destroy the box
He
office.
stayed away from those films though too,
he
because
did.
he was up for a superhero movie. He was supposed to. He was
up
offered
for
Anakin.
Spider-Man.
He was up. He was. They asked.
Spider-Man.
Right, that's the one. And
Spider-Man,
then he was offered Anakin Skywalker, and he wasn't. He didn't think his career was ready for it at that time. Now, whether or not he wants to do anything like that now, who knows? He gets offers for it every 10 minutes.
Sure, I actually love all the movies he always takes. So I think he's a really smart actor. So.
All right. Mark Ellis is quietly trying to come in the back, but we see him.
Yep. Hey,
Thank
Contra
you.
Club's over there. It's not over here right now.
You're never going to let him go in then, are you? All right, last
it.
question of the day.
He's just chugging
He's
his
just-
liquor.
He's
looking at you.
eyeballing
He's
you
looking at
right
you
now.
like Tyson against Spinks in '86.
All right, what's next?
Right.
Last question of the
87.
day.
Justin
88.
Ward writes, when do you think the superhero genre will phase out?
Never. Look. We've said. I have been hearing for 10 years now about how any minute now people are going to get tired of the superhero genre. We've been hearing that for 10 years. Look, as long as the movies keep coming out, and as long as they're good, and people are appreciating them, they're going to keep going. How long has the cop genre been going?
Right.
Forever. I mean, it will take. Look, but everything in Hollywood, goes in circles and cycles. Everything does. What it'll take is what killed the superhero genre before. It's going to take a couple of real couple of high-profile stinkers in a row that will start to temper it a bit, and then it'll come back again later. But right now, Look, what was the last? Well, Fantastic Four. That's one.
One out of, and the other 3 were big hits.
But the next one coming out is Deadpool. It's going to be a big hit. Then Batman vs Superman. That's going to be a big hit. And then
Civil War.
Civil War's coming out, and that's going to be a big hit. And so the clock's reset again. So it's going to be a while.
I gotta say, like, just say, imagine 2016, Deadpool bombs, Batman v Superman bombs, and then Civil War bomb. All 3 of these movies bomb. Like, they make $7.
That will temporarily kill the genre.
But all these other movies that are in production will still come out in 2017. And the other 3 movies, or 5 movies that are coming out still this year that are superhero genre could then all still be big hits. Doctor Strange could be a monster hit. All these other films that are coming out at the end of the year. I'm just saying, even these 3, but you would see a slowdown. But there's so many films that are in production that people are like, well, these didn't hit, these didn't connect, but these other 5 could. It would have to be a series of films that slowed down and dwindled the box office, and that's not gonna. I don't see that happening for another 10 years. I mean, people have been doomsaying the superhero genre since 2002. Yeah. After the Spider-Man movie, I think it's all over. And then even comic book writers.
We just had X-Men.
I know. I'm so tired of this. People running around in spandex. I remember being at Comic-Con and talking with friends who were like saying some of these big writers, big comic book writers, it's all over in 2005. After this happens, it's all over. So people love to say something is over, even while it's in its heyday. So enjoy the heyday, the golden dawn that we're in of superhero films. It's not going anywhere for a long time.
Yeah, I don't think so either, because like you guys said, it has become its own genre, and because there's been enough successful films to continue the genre. Like, you're going to have some stinkers like Fantastic Four and some other movies that will, I mean, some people didn't love Iron Man 2, and there'll be movies that won't satisfy the comic book fans' desire, and even the casual movie fan. Like, there'll be certain ones that they pick and choose. Like, a lot, I think that a movie like Civil War is going to get both sides. You're going to get the comic book crazies, and you're going to get the superhero movie fans, and you get the regular fans as well. Deadpool, I think, is going to be a lot of. I don't agree that it's going to make $100 million opening weekend. I think that's a smaller movie opening weekend. I think it's going to do well, but I think that the sequel will get more of the casual people in there. But the movies will continue to do well because they're changing it up. And as long as Marvel and we don't know yet how DC will fare in this whole thing, but as long as they're keeping their team together and not getting greedy in the way that they're just pushing material, and they're telling their story and they're furthering their story, it's going to be around for a long time.
Now, keep this in mind too, though. One of the reasons that the superhero genre right now is thriving so well is because one superhero movie is not just like the next. It's like the whole thing where somebody might say they're all the same. They're radically different. The Avengers is radically different than Man of Steel, which was radically different from Captain America Winter Soldier, which was radically different from Ant-Man.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which was radically different from Guardians of the Galaxy. They are within the genre now. The genre's matured to the point now that the genre itself is diversifying a lot. So you get one film is a heist film. One film is like a 70s political thriller.
They put a genre inside a genre, which is
which they really have. And so this genre itself is diversifying. It's not enough that you go into, and Doctor Strange is going to be different than any of them too. So now you go into a comic book movie now, you don't necessarily know what you're getting. So that's just going to add to the longevity of the genre.
I was going to say, I mean, I think so many people love to complain and they're doomsayers about stuff. Like this year of 2015, I saw so many incredible films that had nothing to do with superheroes. I saw Trumbo. I saw Diary of a Teenage Girl. I saw Carol. I mean, the list, Room. I saw the list is endless about the incredible, amazing. There's 2 superhero films in my own personal top 25 films of 2015. Only 2. All the rest are actual real films taking place, either bios or historical dramas or fiction or science fiction, but having nothing to do with the superhero genre. I don't think we're in a glut. I think superhero films cost a lot of money to make. They're big tentpole films. We've lived in event filmmaking now for over 25 years, where the event film is the summer films, the giant blockbusters. Superhero films have just simply ratcheted over and taken the place of whatever else was happening before that. And because they're so successful, because they're so well made, that's why you see so many of them. That's all.
A bunch of people, I don't know why this topic is trending in the chat board, that people can see Ashley Mova playing a good Bond girl.
Oh, thank you.
I
I'll take
endorse
that.
it. I think
I love that.
Which Bond would be a great
Which
Bond
Bond
girl.
would you want to be a Bond girl to?
Oh my gosh, I don't know. I would love to see as the next Bond. I would love to see Bradley Cooper as the next Bond. I would love to see Bradley Cooper.
Are you
as
getting tears in your eye? Are
I
your
am.
eyes welling up
So
right now?
Beautiful.
All
Not
right,
Jared
folks.
Little.
I think Bradley Cooper could be the titular James
Oh,
Bond.
very nice.
Emphasis on the tit.
All right, guys, that'll do it for us for this installment of Collider Movie Talk. Thank you so much for joining us. Listen, don't forget, lots of great films playing over at our friends at AMC Theatres right now. Head on over to www.amctheaters.com for all of your theater, showtime, and of course, your movie ticket information. Make sure you subscribe to our channel and make sure you bookmark collider.com, the website that keeps you up to date on everything going on in the world of film and entertainment. Once again, bookmark collider.com. So I want to thank the people sitting at the table with me. First of all, sitting over here on my left, Mr. Jon Schnepp. Schnepp, where can people find the titular Jon Schnepp?
You guys can find me by following me at Jon Schnepp just on Instagram and Twitter. And also you can find me in Florida, Miami, Florida. I'll be there this entire weekend at the Magic City Comic-Con, sweating it up really hard. Florida, yo, Miami.
Sitting over here, Mr. Kristian Harloff. Kristian, where can people find you?
At Kristian Harloff, both Twitter and Instagram. And we have a full council tomorrow. Yeah, it is tomorrow. Make sure you hashtag Collider Jedi Council. We'll be talking about the Han Solo stuff, a bunch of other things. And thank goodness Jake Lloyd isn't dead.
And of course, our lovely host today and future Bond girl, apparently, Miss Ashley Mova. Ashley, where can people find you?
It's Mova, James Mova. You guys can find me on Twitter and on Instagram at Ashley Mova. Happy Wednesday, guys.
And you can follow me on Facebook and on Twitter, where I will put up racy and suggestive pictures of myself. Just simply at Jon Campea. And keep your eye open for my new novel, The Pride, which is coming out here really soon. I will let you know as soon as you can where and when you can order that.
By Racy eating a cheeseburger.
Yes, pretty much. And I want to thank everybody behind the scenes, Dennis and Wendy and Jonathan, and to you. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you jump in the comment section and leave your thoughts and on any or all the topics that we addressed here today. So that'll do it for us for Collider Video. Until next time, bye-bye.
Hey guys, if you like this video, click the thumbs up button. Also, make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel. It'll help you stay up to date with everything we've got going on here at Collider.